Konnichiwa, friends. I am Sekai X Arts and Animations, and I'm an 18-year-old artist chasing a dream to build a studio like Disney, but with stories that go beyond love and friendship conquer all. Through comics, animations, and these videos right here, I am documenting my journey to inspire fellow dreamers. Today's topic: how thinking too far ahead can both help and hurt us, and how we can turn that into fuel. So, what is thinking too far ahead? Basically, at least in my case, it means that I'm thinking, asking, and planning about things that are years, sometimes even decades in the future, before focusing on the here and now. For example, I've been doing character designs for movies, calculating how much it would cost to produce a full fledged film, mapping out an amusement park, and how certain stores and events in that park would work, and thinking about how I would interact with my fan base once I get big. And while daydreaming can be a wonderful thing, it can also be a hindrance. So, why does this whole thinking too far ahead thing happen? Well, for me, it's probably because I'm ambitious and I have really big dreams that I want more than anything to come true. In fact, this drive has gotten so strong that when I go to see movies in a theater or when I'm at Disney World, I get sad. Not that I'm ungrateful for these wonderful opportunities and blessings, it's because I imagine so vividly what it would be like to have something I made in a theater with people who are excited to see it, or have come to my amusement park and feel the same warm, almost painful nostalgia that I feel during the fireworks at Cinderella's castle. And it's not necessarily that I'm jealous of these people who have success, or creators, or corporations that do what I want to do, but in that moment, the divide, that giant gap between where I'm at and where I want to be, feels especially massive, and it can be discouraging. I have certainly been discouraged, especially because I'm not really anywhere yet. But in these times of doubt, especially when other people who have my best interests at heart but tell me that I need to focus on getting a real job and lowering my expectations, I have found a couple inspirations that help me not only continue to dream, but also shift my focus back to where I am right now and what I can do with the resources and time that are currently available to me. The first of these inspirations is Drawing with Waffles video on why she didn't draw for 2 years. Now, I am in no way in a situation like she was in terms of just physical and mental despair, I guess is the word I would use for that. But I connected with her on a multitude of other levels, not only in her illness, and while again I don't have anything like that, I do have extreme emetophobia and chronic nausea, but also her trying to find hope in times of seemingly endless despair. In my current state of wanting to pursue this passion, but also feel like it's impossible, one thing she said in that video really resonated with me. And it wasn't really even talking about a similar topic other than just having hope. She said, "You don't know what a year from now will look like. When you're still right here, you have to wait for that time to pass." Now, obviously, there she was talking about her own illness and not being able to see past it. But put in its own way, to me, it felt like saying, I can't know what 1 year, or 5 years, or 10 years from now will look like. Maybe I won't be anywhere, but maybe, just maybe, I could have at least part of what I dream of. And I have to work towards that to know what it's going to look like, to know if it's possible. Again, I know that wasn't really what her video was talking about, but I think it's really cool how people talking about different things and different struggles and how they're coping with that can help other people and their unique struggles, even if they aren't really that physically similar. The second thing that inspired me was the movie Flow. I don't know if any of you have heard of it, but it was made by an indie animation studio in Blender, which is a free program, and it just won an Oscar for Best Movie of the Year, beating out anything that Disney or DreamWorks made. It was made by a team of less than 50 people with a budget of like $3.8 million, which isn't that much, but it made 30 million. And while that's technically in big corporation terms not considered much, they made 7 times what it cost to produce that movie, which gives me a lot of hope because it shows that even a few people, when combining their passions, can make something amazing. Also, on a little side tangent, I would want to do 2D animation, which would hopefully cost half as much because Flow was in 3D animation and you have to like train the program and all that. But just watching small teams of people creating something together, creating something wonderful, it gave me this hope or belief that maybe if these people could do it, so could I. So, yeah, I daydream about interviews, not necessarily because I think I'm all that great. What I usually talk about in these interviews is my audience, mock interviews, that is. I want to be a creator who listens to the people they make content for. I love talking to my sister about fandoms we're into, and she has some really fantastic ideas for endings to movies that aren't finished yet, and I know it's going to be way better than whatever Hollywood cooks up. And in addition, leakers for games I love have these ideas that would greatly improve the game as well. And as much as I want to do everything myself, creative collaboration will produce something better than I could ever do alone. So these mock interviews in my brain, revolving mostly around responding to my imaginary fans, focuses on what they suggested and delivering what they would hypothetically ask for. For example, my Genshin Impact like game, in response to too long of time between reruns, I would have a character rerun on their birthday, so it's never more than a year before they have a banner. These imaginary interviews also include what people thought about Isekai and the new section there, and what kind of story they'd like to see next come from me. I also think too far ahead about how I would stay humble if I ever got as big as Disney. How do I stay a creator for the people like I said I wanted to? I've seen how easy it is for wealth and corporate greed to control people, and all of a sudden what they make is just a soulless money grab, and I really don't want to be that way. I've compiled a list I read whenever I feel that hunger building up, and it humbles me. It reminds me why I made what I made, and that my success isn't because of me, my eventual success, that is. Everything I have is a gift that I've been given from God. And God owns Sekai X Arts and Animations. He's just letting me run and be a part of it. So this habit of thinking too far ahead keeps me excited, humble, and thinking about this dream all the time can be great. But it's not all sunshines and rainbows all the time. Thinking too far ahead can keep me from focusing on what needs to be done right now to get to that point. I ask how much it would cost to buy a studio, or hire a team, or build an amusement park before I think about just the time it would take for me to produce my own comic, which is the first step in all of this. So I need a balance. So then, how do I use this drive? I've noticed personally that movies and video games and TV shows are all a deeply ingrained part of our culture, and that culture needs changing. People have no hope, and the either dark or brain dead media that is being fed to them on a daily basis isn't helping them being lifted out of their darkness. It's either plunging them farther in with violent movies for violence sake, or they're told love and friendship will get them through it, but where they're at in life right now, they can't see any of that love or friendship to cling to. And as I said before, I want to reach out to these people where they're at. How do you escape times like that? And more importantly, how do you live through it and come out a better, stronger person? Me thinking too far ahead has me focused on things that I don't own yet and I don't have access to, rather than the hope that I can give people right now, hopefully, and the messages that I can share with them, and how I can do that as quickly and as best as possible right now. Because I feel that my stories are what some people really need. And that's not to say I should stop thinking ahead altogether, I still want to dream. And that includes fantasizing about having my movies in theaters and owning my own theme park, and that's fun and important, but I need to use it better. Instead of just sitting in my basement and talking to myself, doing mock interviews with the wall and imagining walking down the streets of Isekai, I want to use that passion, those dreams, as fuel. Instead of just daydreaming, I want to remind myself how amazing it'll feel when those dreams become real. That spark, it keeps me going when everything else feels impossible. I want to take that drive to one day walk down the streets of my own amusement park, and use it to actually drive me forward to where that daydream is no longer something I just have to hold in my imagination, but something I can see in front of me. That's just kind of what I've been figuring out as I've been thinking too far ahead and having to come back like a yo-yo. And I hope that this little rant I've gone on helps some of you too kind of put into perspective where your projects are and where you want to be, and how you can use that drive and fire to be 20 years in the future right here to get you there. How to connect point A and point B. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Like I mentioned in my last video, I'm an 18-year-old writer/artist developing a company with my first project being a magical girl franchise called Soulise, blending the emotion of Madoka Magica with the hope of Precure. I'm looking for passionate collaborators and creatives, writers, colorists, voice actors, animators, editors, character designers, etc., who want to help build something beautiful. This isn't paid yet, but I believe in this world that we're creating. So if you're a small creative looking for a project to pour your heart into, please reach out. If not, that's okay. I'd really appreciate you just watching. If you haven't seen my other video talking about this, please check it out. Please consider liking and subscribing to follow the journey, and I'll see you all in the next one.